Now at 10 and streaming on CrossroadsToday.com, one local restaurant gives back to those in need this Christmas Day. And heading into the new year, gas prices may be on the rise. And a sprawling caravan of migrants from Central America, Venezuela, Cuba, and other countries trek their way through Mexico heading towards the U.S. border.
Temps in the mid-70s for Christmas Eve day. A different story for Christmas and the rest of the week temperature-wise. We'll talk all about it. But first, here's Zach.
And the pride of the 361 trying to put the Pats on his back. I'll have that coming up in sports.
You're watching 25 News Now at 10. Good evening and a Merry Christmas to everyone at home watching us. I'm Adam Seibel. While many restaurants were closed today for Christmas, one local restaurant was open in order to help those who might not get fed on Christmas. In what's become a tradition, Texas Seafood on Rio Grande in Victoria prepared and gave away full meals to the community, especially those that might not have otherwise eaten today on Christmas. Ben Pham, owner of Texas Seafood, has hosted this food giveaway for well over a decade now and is happy to help those that need it.
Feel great. It's excellent feeling actually, because I see a lot of people coming in and a lot of emotion actually, and a lot of volunteer. I would really appreciate the volunteer coming in and help. I don't think we can do it without them.
In addition to the meal giveaway, toys donated to the Texas Seafood for the cause were also given away to children who showed up with their families. Pham says they gave out over 500 meals. The Calhoun County Sheriff's Office confirmed that over the weekend a man was arrested for public intoxication after he submerged his car in the water. The CCSO said that he was operating a vehicle and ended up submerging his car in the water at the 6 Mile boat ramp in Port Lavaca. He made it out of the car and was walking in the area. Deputies arrived around 6 p.m. and made contact with the man. They say he was intoxicated and admitted to driving the car, but since he wasn't seen operating the car, he was arrested for public intoxication. He also had an arrest warrant, so after being medically cleared, he was booked for public intoxication and unlawful carry. We're waiting more details from the Sheriff's Office. The South Texas Regional Job Fair will be January 11, 2024. It will be Thursday from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Cuero Municipal Park Clubhouse, 201 Leonard Roy Harmon Drive. All employers are encouraged to showcase their companies, recruit candidates, and this is an opportunity for job seekers to find their next career move. But RSVP by the end of the year, December 31st at stxjobfair.com. Retail gas prices have fallen in the past 2 weeks, according to the latest gas prices. However, despite the decline, we may see retail price hikes appearing by New Year's in some markets, with the potential of nationally rising gasoline prices early in the new year. The average regular grade price is down 5.75 cents a gallon, with a December 22nd price of $3.21. Retail fuel prices fell too. The price went down 12.66 cents in the past 2 weeks. A longtime local journalist sent us a story he did about Christmas decorations in his neighborhood, and we want to share with you Bill Clough's holiday story. Here is Christmas in the Crossroads.
3 houses at the corner of Laurel and Vine in Victoria. That's Tyler's house, and that's Tyler sprucing up the lawn. That's Stephen's house next door to Tyler, and that's Stephen adjusting Santa's sleigh. And this is our house across the street. So when the sun goes down and the moon comes up, and at dusk the carriage lights turn on, under the watchful eye of Sylvester the cat and the watchful eye of the local videographer, it's showtime. Tyler turns on his lights just about the same time as Stephen. His is the showcase of the neighborhood. He is a genius at decorating. It takes him about 2 weeks to get it all done. When our lights come on is controlled by a cell phone app. Luminarias lead to the front porch, characterized by Mexican lights strung along the front porch with garland with red lights. They're made of rusty tin cans. This is what it looks like inside of one. We have a holly tree in red and one blue light, and garland over the front door. The east yard has its own decorations, strings of lights and a wreath, guarded by a weather station. On the west lawn, another holly tree. We have natural decorations too, Christmas cacti, white and red. All the colors for a Merry Christmas, and to all, a good night.
So here's your viewer poll this evening. You can scan that QR code on your screen to vote. We asked, did you decorate for the holidays? Looks like 75% say yes and 25% say no. Well, we sure saw some great decorations there in that story. So Howie, did you put any Christmas decorations up this year?
The only one I put up was right here, Adam.
Oh, that looks beautiful.
My tie. I appreciate that. Yours looks very nice as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, sometimes I'm in the mood to put them up, sometimes I'm not, but either way, neighbors are all decorated. Set looks beautiful. Lots of lights all across South Texas. Looking really good, South Texas. Now, temperature-wise, what's going on here? We were mid-70s for Christmas Eve. Now that cold front comes through the area, dries us out, cools us down, blows a little wind around. The wind's helping with the cooler temperatures. So temps, yeah, we could see temperatures potentially in the 30s overnight with the winds whipping up. Hey, that's very much on the chilly side. Now we'll start to warm up in the middle of the week. We'll start to get back into the mid-60s, but a little chillier than what we saw. So 41 overnight, and then for tomorrow, 60, not bad under mostly sunny skies. But we're going to overall have a cooler week. We'll touch more on that coming up in just a bit, Adam.
Thanks, Howie. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene was the victim of a swatting incident at her Georgia home today. The Republican representative made the announcement on X. She posted, quote, "I was just spotted. This is the 8th time on Christmas here with my family." Major Rodney Bailey of the Rome, Georgia Police Department told NBC News that a person based in New York made a call to the suicide hotline claiming that he had shot his girlfriend at Greene's address. The caller also threatened to kill himself. Police then contacted Greene's local security liaison to inform the Congresswoman's team about the call. However, her security team decided officers didn't need to respond to her home. Greene has previously been the victim of swatting incidents, including last year when there were false reports of shootings happening outside her home. A sprawling caravan of migrants from Central America, Venezuela, Cuba, and other countries trekked through Mexico today, heading towards the U.S. border. The procession came just days before Secretary of State Antony Blinken arrives in Mexico City to hammer out new agreements to control the surge of migrants seeking entry into the United States. The caravan, estimated at around 6,000 people, many of them families with young children, is the largest in more than a year. It's a clear indication that joint efforts by the Biden administration and President Andres Manuel Lopez, the government there to deter migration, is falling us short. The caravan departed from the city near Mexico's southern border with Guatemala on Christmas Eve. Security forces looked on what appeared to be a repeat of past tactics when authorities waited for the marchers to tire out and then offered them a form of temporary legal status that is used by many to continue their journey northward. With decades of experience working in the Victoria Fire Department, interim Victoria Fire Chief Shannon Martin is retiring with plans to run for Victoria County Commissioner Precinct 3. From an early age, Shannon Martin knew what he wanted to do with his life, and that was to become a firefighter.
I was just one of those kids that had the yearning in my heart to be a firefighter at a young age, and I never grew out of that.
Right out of high school, he went to Texas A&M to their recruit fire training school.
I left right after high school and went to Texas A&M and went through the recruit fire training school there and graduated from there, and got back to Victoria after that. And shortly after that, I was picked up by the Victoria Fire Department. I was hired in July of 1987 at the age of 18 years old. And that began my career here.
So at the fresh young age of 18, he started his journey with the Victoria Fire Department. In being in since 1987, he's seen a handful of changes within the department.
There wasn't a single computer in a fire station. There wasn't a computer in fire administration. Everything was still done by typewriter, carbon paper. Even the state incident reports back at that time were all hand done all the daily logs were all written into log books. So yeah, there's been some pretty substantial changes since 1987.
They've added a few more computers since then. He recalls his very first fire call here in Victoria.
Yes, I do. I do remember my first fire call. I remember getting off the back of that engine. It was in the downtown area somewhere. It was a residential structure fire. I don't remember the exact street address, but yes, I remember that very well. Scared, excited, and it was a good one to get under my belt once you get past that first one like that. So, and then for the years to follow, of course, there were many days like that, many shifts like that.
Martin says his best memories he'll take with him is the people, that they're like a second family.
I think it's hard for people that do not work in a fire department to realize how close knit we are, and that's the biggest thing that I have to take away from the 36 years is just those friendships, those relationships, and then that's also what I'm going to miss the most when I leave the department.
Martin added that being in the line of work that he is something that comes from a sense of dedication to serving his community.
So the people that serve in the public service agencies, whether it's the police department or fire department, they're strictly doing it because they have a servant's heart, and they want to serve and they want to help the community and ensure the community's safety.
And just because he's leaving, that doesn't mean his legacy with the fire department ends too, with a son and a son-in-law both in firefighting.
Yeah, even if I had the opportunity to start all over again, I wouldn't do anything different in the career path that I have chosen. It's been a wonderful career for me. It's been a wonderful career for my family. In fact, my son followed in my footsteps. He's also employed with the Victoria Fire Department and is a lieutenant on one of the shifts. So it's been a great career. I also have one of my son-in-laws that is a firefighter. So we have a lot to talk about when we're sitting around the table.
And Martin's servant leadership doesn't end with his retirement in the Victoria Fire Department, because Precinct 3 Commissioner Gary Burns announced he'll be retiring in 2024. So Martin has decided to run for that position of County Commissioner, Precinct 3. So you might be seeing more of him in the community. Adam Seibel, KAVU TV 25 News Now. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 10. Crowds at the airport at the busiest holiday season as record holiday breaks records. And the latest on the war in the Middle East. Crowds at the airport the busiest this holiday season as this holiday travel breaks records. TSA screening on average more than 2.5 million passengers a day. That's even more passengers than last year. All this as a major winter storm is crossing through the heartland and blizzard warnings in effect from Colorado to South Dakota, leaving a white Christmas in its path.
Record-breaking travel this holiday season as an estimated 7.5 million people took to the skies.
Finally making it home after a long trip.
More than 500 flights were canceled nationwide and more than 9,000 were delayed. This traveler facing delays after watching the Buffalo Bills face off against the Chargers, but managing to get home for Christmas.
Plans today is get back to my wife, spend some time with her, see some family, and get some sleep.
For drivers, AAA says it was busy. More than 115 million people traveled more than 50 miles from their homes, and it's a white Christmas for many in the Central Plains. In parts of Colorado, more than a foot of snow after a winter storm moved into the heartland with blizzard conditions, putting travel to a standstill, airports shutting down, a blizzard warning issued for Colorado, Kansas, Nebraska, and South Dakota. Across the South, heavy rain. The shopping center in South Carolina damaged, windows smashed after powerful winds even topped trailers and knocked over trees.
When we were running, that's when we heard the glass breaking and we came out and then the tree was there.
Out west, yet another heavy rain system is moving through. This time, rain coming through Washington state to Oregon and Northern California. Melissa Adon, ABC News, Los Angeles.
We now turn to the latest on the war in the Middle East. Major Israeli airstrikes killing dozens of people at a Gaza refugee camp. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is vowing the war will expand in the coming days.
Israeli Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu says the war in Gaza is a long battle and, quote, it isn't close to finished. The proclamation as the Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry says at least 68 people have been killed following an Israeli airstrike on a refugee camp in Gaza. This man mourning his relatives killed in that strike as others scoured the rubble hoping to find survivors. The attack at the Al-Maghazi refugee camp in central Gaza also killed at least 12 women and 7 children. Another eyewitness, Mohammed, telling ABC News, he found bodies in pieces. Israeli Defense Forces say they are reviewing the incident, and despite challenges posed by Hamas operating in civilian areas, they are taking feasible steps to minimize civilian harm. Meantime, during his Christmas address at the Vatican,
Cari fratelli e sorelle, buon Natale.
Pope Francis calling for an end to the Israel-Hamas war and the military operations claiming innocent civilian victims, likening the children dying in wars, including in Gaza, to the little Jesuses of today. And in Bethlehem, the birthplace of Jesus, Christmas celebrations canceled in the West Bank with tensions high and security tight. The Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem crossed into Bethlehem for what would normally be a time of celebration in the ancient city. Instead, he urged for a ceasefire. In Washington, Liz Landers, ABC News.
Pope Francis said in his Christmas message today that children dying in wars, including in Gaza, are the little Jesuses of today, and that Israel strikes there were reaping an appalling harvest of innocent civilians. In his Christmas Day address, Francis also called the attack on Israel by Hamas terrorists abominable. Again, appealed for the release of remaining hostages and said the world had no choice but to resolve the Palestinian question through dialogue. Speaking from the central balcony of St. Peter's Basilica to thousands of people in the square below, he also took another swipe at the weapons industry, saying it was ultimately behind the puppet strings of war. The 87-year-old Francis, celebrating the 11th Christmas of his pontificate, also called for an end to conflicts, political, social, or military, in places including Ukraine, Syria, Yemen, Lebanon, and defended the rights of migrants.
Santa now gets some time off. He gets the rest up there in the North Pole, but everyone else, or a lot of people, some people, going back to work. We'll talk about those conditions coming up in just a bit. All right. Merry Christmas, everyone. I know a lot of people are on break for school. Some people using vacation week, but some people going back to work tomorrow. Santa, though, I think he's got the day off, or I don't know, 300 some odd days off until next Christmas. Last we tracked him, he's back where he belongs. That's right, back up there in the North Pole. Thanks for all the hard work you did there, Santa. Now, breezy through Thursday, but at times the winds might settle a little bit, maybe only 10, 12 miles per hour. We will be cooler for much of the week. Now, some cloud cover, that will contribute to cooler temperatures, but warmer nights and mornings. We'll break that down and clear it all up in the next 3 minutes or so. So we did make it up to 61 officially today, but we were at 75 degrees yesterday. So we were about 10 degrees above average. Now shot back down to about 5 degrees below average. 66 is where we should be. But look at that. Christmas back in 1964, 88 degrees. I would have been at the beach for sure that day. Here's our future temperatures. Now, getting on the chillier side, we could see some nights into the 30s potentially. And again, if it's a little breezy, hey, feels that much more uncomfortable. Now, we'll start to warm. We're going to be up and down a little bit during the week. We could warm into the low to mid 60s, a couple days staying in the upper 50s, and again, a couple nights maybe dropping down into the upper 30s. So a little cooler, or I want to say a lot cooler compared to the 75 we just had yesterday for Christmas Eve. All right, dew points. These were in the mid to upper 60s last couple days. That front slowly dragged through, bringing that cooler, dry, sinking air down from the northwest. And look what happened, really wrenched the moisture out of the atmosphere, but temperatures are down as well. So the uncomfortability factor not as prominent. Okay, so our boundary was about here last couple days, and it started moving through. Moisture out in front of that boundary promoted the showers we saw, but then the boundary pushed all those showers out into the Gulf, started dragging that cooler, dry, sinking air down as high pressure clears out our skies. But yeah, we are holding on to some cloud cover. What we're seeing is that cooler, dry, sinking air is undercutting that warm, moist air from the Gulf. That little bit of lift is enough to promote the cloud cover. High pressure, though, close enough to stop it or stifle really the rain from accumulating, or the rain from developing. But what's going on then, that cloud cover, that'll prevent the temperatures from dropping as far overnight and in the morning. At the same time, it acts the opposite in the daytime. The sun trying to penetrate with high pressure, clearing out skies, clearing out the clouds, going to block out some of that incoming solar radiation, or the sun's rays, that is. That'll keep us on the cooler side. So thus, upper 50s, low 60s for a good portion of the week, as again, those clouds continue to develop from that undercutting of that cooler, dry air. But high pressure, even as it moves out, might promote a little more moisture moving in from the Gulf, but more high pressure pushing in from the northwest. So high pressure is going to control the environment for much of the week. Again, usually leads to clear skies, but other elements I just talked about, keeping up with a little bit of our cloud cover. So here's our marine forecast. Water-wise, about 63 degrees. Seas coming down now just 2 to 3 feet. That will keep our bays on the smooth side. So overnight, 41 degrees. If we get those 15-mile-per-hour wind gusts, then hey, that 41 will feel very much on the chilly side. Tomorrow, the 60, mostly sunny skies won't be too bad if our winds do stay on that subtle side. All right, looking ahead, here is what we have. Okay, we were 75 yesterday, staying in the 60s much of the week, but a lot of sunshine. But look at some of these nights in the 30s. Ooh, that's on the chilly side. But later on by the weekend, back into the 70s by Sunday. For more weather, news, and sports, you can go to our app. That's at crossroadstoday.com, and that is free with any Android and iPhone. And now we go to Sports with Zach.
Well, the Eagles with a chance to put a stranglehold on Dallas and that division. I'll have that in sports. Well, last night, the New England Patriots, led by 361's own Bailey Zappi, traveled to Denver trying to play a little bit of spoiler. Zappi going to hit Zeke with a pass vintage leap over the defender. That's touchdown pass number 1 on the day for the Victoria East alum. Touchdown pass number 2 comes late in the third quarter, courtesy of this strike to his tight end, Mike Gesicki. Now, New England would actually score a touchdown on the ensuing kickoff, but somehow allowed Denver to tie it. But Zappi puts the Pats on his back with less than a minute to go. A throw is going to help the Pats get in field goal range to kick the game winner, get the victory, 26-23. And that's big for the Texans, who are competing with Denver for that final wild card spot. Joe Flacco and the Browns teed off on Houston from the very first play of the game. Amari Cooper, 265 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Browns dominate Houston 36-22. But the Dallas Cowboys have had a lot of road woes all year. Got a good test against Miami, and that didn't start well. Disaster for them boys. A botched handoff and a fumble at the 1-yard line. It would lead to a Miami field goal, but that comes back to CD in the open field. Makes a man miss. Touchdown for the Oklahoma Sooner. Great. The Cowboys, in the end, though, would lose on a field goal at the buzzer. So the Eagles, with only a few weeks remaining, a chance to put a stranglehold on that division. Some people call that the tush push. Some call it the brotherly shove. But whatever you call it, it is a touchdown. And apparently Philadelphia, in the spirit of giving, they give the ball back to the Giants on the first kickoff of the second half. And then a pick six is going to have the Giants thinking comeback. But the Eagles are able to pull away from the Giants and get the win. They have the division lead by 1 game with just 2 weeks left to go. And the Kansas City Chiefs only have 1 more win than the Houston Texans. They lose to the Las Vegas Raiders today. That's it for your sports. Adam, back to you.
Thanks, Zach. Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 10, we'll take a last look at your weather. Plus, President Joe Biden and First Lady Jill Biden spent part of their Christmas day speaking with service members. President Joe Biden and First Lady Jill Biden spent part of their Christmas day speaking with service members. The president posted this photo with the First Lady as they were on the phone making calls to service members today. He stated, quote, "This Christmas, Jill and I spoke with some of the bravest military members who are spending the holidays away from home. The duo called units from each branch of our military to wish them a Merry Christmas and thank them, as well as their families for their service and sacrifice." Yeah, we want to thank everyone who had to, all our service members working on Christmas. So, and those who are away from their families. Did you guys give your families a call today?
Of course, got to. I mean,
yeah.
My mom called me earlier this morning. All 7 of my other siblings were at home, but
yeah.
I mean, obviously I couldn't make the trip, but I'm just in Houston.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they're missing you, Zach. Hopefully you can go see them.
My phone's been active all day, voicemails, texts. I've been FaceTiming and as much as I can. And yeah, everyone hopefully had a wonderful, wonderful Christmas and stayed healthy and had a lot of fun out there. Now, it wasn't as nice or as fun as yesterday because we were at 75 degrees. But then again, hey, you throw a jacket on, not too bad. We were a little cooler today. But as you see here, nothing really in the way of storm activity going to move into the area. So high pressure should keep us on the clear side for the most part, other than a little bit of cloud cover that I explained during the broadcast. 41 overnight tonight, a little breezy, could be chilly. Tomorrow, 60, mostly sunny, a little bit better. Looking ahead, though, a lot of sun for much of the week.
All right. Well, thanks, Zach. Thank you, Howie. And again, Merry Christmas to everyone.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Great evening.